Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
And everyone together. Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
Om Hri Om. Namaste, everyone. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you on this wonderful Sunday, October 15th, I believe it is. And as I mentioned the last time, what we're going to be doing today is something a little bit different. Last week we gave a very, very important talk, very inspirational talk. How to Have a Life of Success was the name of the talk, and it was a long talk. It went on for an hour and a half uninterrupted. We didn't even take questions or answers. It was just a talk. If you have not seen that video yet, I suggest that you please do indeed take a look at it. If you go to the live section of the Dharma Nation channel on YouTube, you'll see that the video is listed there. Please take a look at that if you have not had a chance yet to see it. Again, it's a very inspirational, very motivational sort of talk where I talked about what it means to be successful and indeed how to have a successful life on every level, spiritually, materially, on quite literally every level of who and what we are. And what I told people is that because we didn't have time to take questions last time, I told people that today it will be exclusively a Q&A, but with this stipulation. I would like all of the questions to be about what we discussed last time, and that is indeed how to have a life that is successful. And let me just say this again, actually, because it's very important for people who are either new or they weren't here last time. We are talking about how to have a life that is successful, not just how to have success in life. And there's a difference between the two. You know, you'll go to, motivational channels, new age channels, channels that, some of them may even be well-meaning, but basically they will give you little common wisdom ideas about how to have success, how to, as I say, have a big bank account, how to have a good career, how to be successful in the world, etc., and they'll just kind of leave it at that. That's not what we spoke about last time. Now, keep in mind that with the principles that we did speak about, if you follow those principles, you will have success in life, without doubt, if that's what you want. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. But really what we spoke about is how to have a life that is successful in every way. In other words, how to have a life that you can be proud of, how to have a life that has meaning, how to have a life in which you are optimizing everything that you are. Again, first and foremost spiritually, but in every way. Intellectually, physically, indeed, finances, everything imaginable. So that's what we spoke about last time, and I gave people the assignment to write down questions. And they can be as personal as you wish, they can be as generally philosophical as you wish, that's fine. But with that, I would like to now take any questions that people have, and again, about how to have a life that is successful. If we run out of questions on that topic, and if we truly run out, and there are other questions, if we have the time, I'll certainly answer other questions as well. But this is going to be the priority, our questions on how to have a life that is successful. So please feel free in the chat to begin asking your questions. And I see them already coming in, which is absolutely wonderful. So give me a moment, please, as I look at all these questions that are streaming in, and I begin to answer them. Good, very nice. Very good. Here is a very nice question, and it's a two-parter, and I will absolutely answer this. And this is from, indeed, one of our moderators and one of our dear devotee students as well. And it is Namaste Acharyaji. In our pursuit, in our pursuit of success, we know we need to try our hardest to achieve our goals. But if an endeavor becomes tiring for our body and our mind, do we keep pursuing it? That's part one. Part two, how do we keep a healthy balance between trying too hard versus trying to some extent? Thank you for your encouragement and your words of wisdom. Wonderful. Well, let me say, this is indeed the exact sort of question that I was hoping to get. Very, very good practical question. And let me say that indeed a balance is necessary. And to answer this question, there are a lot of nuances that are involved. First of all, it depends on What is the nature of your goal, of what it is specifically you're trying to do? Is it something that you would like to do, but it's not that important? Or is it something that is truly crucial? Oh, it's a career that you're trying to establish, or something truly large and important in the world that's going to be beneficial for you, for your family, for the world. So it depends on that first and foremost. But let me try to answer this in as general a way as possible. Anytime we have a goal, whether big or small, we should give it our utmost. Always our utmost. Now, that being said, there are limits, even when it comes to utmost. You see, the very word itself, utmost, means limit. The utmost means the maximum degree, but then there's a certain ceiling that you hit. That is what the utmost means. Now, what is that ceiling? That's what you're asking. Well, again, it depends first and foremost on the nature of the goal. Let's say, for example, let me give the most extreme example. Let's say that you are, in the military. And not just in the military, you have an important position. You are on a very important mission, and it is something that is a righteous mission, not just one of these meaningless wars, many of which we've had in the last several decades. No, it's a real war where you truly are fighting for your people. You have a mission that you must accomplish. And you understand that, if you don't accomplish this mission, it's going to be very bad for your side. Many of your comrades are going to die, be injured, etc. What utmost means, if you're in the military, is unto death. Unto death. That means, if you need to sacrifice your life, that's what you do. But at the same time, having said that as an example, let's be honest. How many people are in such a position today? Not many. People are just living their lives, etc. So this is why, again, I said it depends on what the specific goal and situation is. Now, not being in the military, which again is the majority of individuals, or at least not actively engaged at the present moment, the way that you know that you have reached that natural ceiling of what is meant by utmost is when it gets to the point where you are working hard to the point where it is beginning to seriously damage yourself. You're beginning to damage yourself. So you can work very hard. Indeed, you can work so hard to the point where you're tired. That's fine. It's normal to get tired. I was a college student for 11 years. I was often tired. If you're a college student, you get tired. If you're doing many things, you get tired. But there's a matter of getting tired, and then you can recover from that, and then tomorrow's another day. Versus you push yourself to the point where, now you're causing ill health. Now it's getting to the point where you're literally damaging your body, damaging your mind, etc. That is when you've reached that ceiling. And now you have to pull back. And indeed, you have to have that balance. All right, what's an example I'm going to give? People know I love to talk about the gym and lifting weights. Perfect example for any individuals who are out there and you've lifted weights or done any serious exercise. What does it mean to do exercise? Again, if you've done any serious exercise, you understand this. You're going to tire yourself. You want to push yourself. Indeed, when in lifting weights, there's something called going to failure. And I actually try to do that as often as I can. That is, you keep going, you keep lifting until you know, if I lift one more time, I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to have to drop the weights. That's called going to failure. That's a goal that many people attempt to do because that's how you actually build the muscle. You put tremendous strain on the muscle when you do that. However, anyone worth their salt who knows what they're talking about, if someone says, every time you lift weights, you should go to failure, that's a fool. That's a fool. In my own personal experience, but also listening to individuals who, again, they have been doing this for 20, 30 years, they'll say, no, once in a while you want to do that. Not every time, because you will damage yourself. So indeed, this is an example of how you want to push yourself. You want to get tired, but you don't want to damage yourself. You don't want to damage yourself. And again, million examples that I can use. So I hope that that answers your questions. Very good. Yes, I think it does. All right. With that, we will go on to other questions that are here. Very nice. Here is a very good question. And it is, Namaste Acharyaji. I am unsure how to achieve success spiritually in performing duties according to my Varna? How important is it that our career reflects our Svadharma, i.e. a Kshatriya in Shudra work, etc.? Very nice. Good question, actually. And again, this being not just the Kali Yuga, but 2023, where, first of all, let me back up. Let me explain these terms for people who may not understand them. Varna means one's personal psychophysical makeup. So every human being has a Varna. And what that means is your literally psychophysical makeup. That is, what your body and your psyche dictates that you should be doing in a general category of doing. That's Varna. That's the definition of Varna in a nutshell. Now, all that being said, indeed, everyone has a Varna. But then what you're asking here very specifically is, what if an individual is, and you give this nice example, they're Kshatriya, but right now they're doing Shudra work. Should your career reflect, now you're using another word, your Svadharma, that is, your inner nature? Should it match that? And let me say that again, now getting back to the track I was on. In 2023, we live in a very crazy time where indeed people don't even understand these concepts today. The idea of one's intrinsic nature, the idea of one's psychophysical nature, how those two are different, how they interact, and then what to speak of, what is my, as an individual, psychophysical nature, what is my Svadharma. People have a lot of difficulty understanding any of this today. All that being the case, indeed, a tremendous source of unhappiness that we see today are people who are going against their psychophysical nature and their Svadharma. So what do we see? When I was a graduate student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, it's kind of a joke about Madison, Wisconsin, because it's a serious college town, not just a college town. Oh, it's a college town. I mean, many people there. You'll bump into people all the time. Oh, yes, I'm working on my PhD dissertation. Oh, yes, I just got my master's degree. And it's kind of a running joke that literally in Madison, Wisconsin, you can go, not that I would or you should, but as an example, you could go to a McDonald's and the person who is taking your order may have a master's degree. That's what Madison, Wisconsin is like because, they're working at a McDonald's as they're going through graduate school. Now, the thing is, what you will also see when you meet that person is someone who is miserable. And why? Well, this is someone who obviously is educated, obviously some sort of intellectual or scientist, and temporarily they're doing something that is contrary to their psychophysical nature. So of course they're unhappy. Of course they're doing this, obviously, because they just need to make money right then and there as they're going through graduate school. But it's not what they want to do as their career. And now you will also find the opposite. Interestingly, especially today in our egalitarian times when the idea is that every human being deserves to go to college, should be in college, etc., you'll find people who are in college taking even graduate level courses who are miserable because if their parents would just leave them alone and let them do what they actually feel like doing, they would be an auto mechanic. Or if society would just leave them alone and allow them to make a good living doing what they actually want to do, they would be a carpenter, etc. So what we see today is that indeed we have individuals who will have one Varna forced to do something else. Now, all this now gets to your question. An individual should, if they have the opportunity, they should have a career that most aligns with their Varna and their intrinsic nature as much as possible. Now, we're lucky, I know who you are. I know that you're in North America. And we're lucky, of course, in North America, Europe, so many nations where we can do that if we really want to. Oh, there's no excuse. You live in Europe, you live in the United States, you live in Canada. Oh, you can, whatever you need to do, have 2 jobs, go to school and have a job. We can align our psychophysical nature with our career if we really want to. Oh, there are many nations, of course, where that's not the case. There are a lot of tertiary nations, very poor nations where, there are no opportunities. And yes, you could be a Brahmana within and you're forced to work the fields and that's it. You'll do that until the day you die. And that's horrible. That's very sad. So indeed, especially when we have the opportunity, we should do everything that we can to try to align the two. To try to align the two as much as is possible. But at the same time, now comes the practicality. Again, this is 2023. We need to also do that which we really don't mind doing, but in which we can also gain a very, very good living as well. All right, so I hope that's a satisfactory answer. It's a very practical answer that yes, we should try to align our actual career with our psychophysical nature as much as possible, but also taking into account all of the crazy nuances of our day and age, where sometimes that's difficult. And, you need to do that which at least comes as closely as possible to your Varna. So I hope that answers the question. Please give me a moment as I read the rest of these questions. Very good. Very good. I see here that Keshava has a two-part question, but before we actually get to that, there is another 2 or 3 part question. What I'm going to do, I guess it's 2 parts now. What I'm going to do is first answer this 2-part question, and then Keshava, I will come back to your question. And this is from Lothian, and it is Namaste Sri Acharyaji. Thank you for everything you have done and continue to do for myself and for all sentient beings. Recently, a beautiful and intelligent woman has entered into my life. Neither of us have been in a romantic relationship previously, and we have already agreed that we are both looking for marriage. I sincerely wish to cultivate a family with this woman. Then I want to see where part 3 is. I think I just passed it by mistake. Give me a moment. The mouse does not always cooperate. Here we are. However, I believe that we have differing views on some crucial topics in the realm of politics. I humbly ask, what is the ideal way to approach this situation? Very good. Wonderful. Very, very good question, actually. And it's really a not so much 2-part question. It's a question with 2 aspects to it. So first of all, let me deal with the first aspect. Let me deal with not so much your question, but what you said. And that is that you found a woman who, to quote you, is beautiful and intelligent, and both of you seem to be on the same page in that neither of you have been previously in serious relationships. You both are aiming toward marriage, etc. So before I say anything else, let me first of all say that is absolutely wonderful news. And congratulations, that is absolutely wonderful. For those of us who are in the ISDS, we know that we try to follow Sanatana Dharma in as authentic a way as possible. That means truly Vedically. And what does that mean? We believe in brahmacharya, we believe in celibacy when the individual is not married, but then we also believe in marriage. We believe in family. We indeed believe that Vedic civilization, it's not a matter of belief, this is the case. Vedic civilization is based upon the idea of family. Family. So the fact that the two of you have found each other is something that is absolutely wonderful. And for whatever it's worth, congratulations. Now, to get to what you are actually asking here, and that is that you have differences when it comes to politics. Let me first say how sad that in this day and age, politics has become so partisan and vicious a topic to the point where entire families today, and I'm talking about the last 6, 7, 8 years, entire families have been split up, have been at war with each other because of stupid politics. There was a time when, not too long ago, a few generations ago, you could have a family in which, and I'm speaking about this from the American context, of course, being an American, some people in the family leaned toward more Republican, some leaned more Democrat. But they were still a family. And, they would have, maybe some little political debates once in a while, but it was all loving. It was within the context of, we know each other. We know we all love each other. We're all good people. Yeah, we may disagree, but that's all right. What can you do? That's how it used to be. A few, 2 generations, 1 generation ago even. Today, oh my Lord, it's become, again, such a vicious partisan sort of bickering to the point where you will have brothers and sisters, you'll have parents and children who will see each other as the enemy and will fight with each other. We'll just have conflict. Because, one has this political stance, the other one has this political stance. It's not enough anymore for people to just say, all right, well, we all have our right to our own opinion, but still let's get along. No, now it's you're my enemy now. Even if you share my DNA, even if we're going to be married, etc. And how sad that that is the case. But all that aside, let me just say that politically, what I would do is, in the case of you and this wonderful woman who you have married, try your best to not talk overtly about politics. Politics is part of life, but it doesn't have to be the center of life. Politics, like anything, is part of life. Those individuals who try to pretend that, politics, no, we should always be silent on politics. Politics and religion, we can never talk about. Nonsense. Those things are of importance. But when it comes to politics especially, it doesn't have to be something of such vast importance to the point where it creates a divide between individuals who otherwise care about each other that can't be bridged in any way. So I would say that both of you try to avoid speaking about politics overtly as much as possible, but also, more than anything, focus on getting to know each other better on a personal level. You try to know her as much as possible, who she is as a person, and vice versa. Have her know who you are as a person, transcending politics. Because this is the thing. Everyone has their political view, even strong political views. But anyone who's wise can understand that, there may be someone who is the absolute opposite of me politically. And, they may be wrong politically, according to me. But you need to also recognize when it's a good person. Sometimes it's not, but very often a person can be a good person, even if they have some political difference with you. Now, when it comes to someone who you're thinking of marrying in the future, this is where this sort of thinking becomes especially important. Know each other as individuals first and foremost. And what will very naturally happen is the politics will follow the persons. In other words, focus on love. That being the case, the politics will follow. In other words, what I mean by the politics will follow is, once that love is there and both of you know each other as persons very, very deeply, then whatever political changes need to happen in the view of either or both of you will happen naturally. But don't have that be the number one instigator of anything, either the two of you being together or not being together. Focus on love. Focus on love as much as possible. Very good. Now, with that, I did say that because I saw that Keshava had a question here, I will definitely get to your question now. First of all, you say, Namaste Acharyaji, thank you for giving us your time today to answer our questions. Absolutely, my pleasure. And now your questions are, I've found no sustainable success as a game artist. Art is my Swadharma, and I want my new endeavor, creating stores to sell my Vedic art, to succeed so I can sustain myself and continue helping you. I feel Krishna is pulling me away from my old industry to open me to new possibilities. I have never had lasting success selling my art before, and I wish to rid myself of the doubt that it's possible. Thank you. Very good. Let me say this, Keshava. This is a very, very personal question because, of course, I know you. I know your art. And let me just say as an aside, for those who don't know, Keshava is a truly superb artist, and I don't say that lightly. In fact, I can prove it. I can prove that I mean that. He has created book covers for 2 of my books. So, indeed, I take him seriously as an artist. He is a wonderful artist. He gifted me with several of his artworks that I actually have here in the temple, etc. So he is truly a wonderful artist. And let me just say this again, Keshava, this is something that I would really like to talk to you about, actually. In fact, I've been wanting to talk to you about this for several weeks, but it has to be on a very personal level that is really no one else's business. This has to do with you, with your business, etc. So indeed, as soon as possible, I wish to Skype with you where we can talk about this in a very personal sort of way. So again, I apologize to everyone who was waiting for a public answer. I'm not giving a public answer. Keshava, I'm going to talk to you about this personally. All right? Very good. With that, let us go on to a few more questions. There are so many questions. It's wonderful. We have such an intelligent audience. It's amazing. You know, I can even put restrictions on them. You can only ask me about these things, and they still throw a million questions at me. It's amazing. Wonderful audience we have. So let me just see this next question. Very good, very good. This is a wonderful, very, very important question, actually. And the question is, Namaste, Sri Acharyaji, my humble obeisances. How does self-empowerment go together with surrendering to God? Somehow they seem conflicting. Excellent question, actually. And let me say, your intuition is not wrong. But again, there's some nuance that is here. Self-empowerment, meaning materialistically, oh yes, then there would be a conflict with surrendering to God. See, when it comes to self-empowerment, this is why I even began today's live stream by saying this, that, when it comes to having a life of success, you'll hear things from all sorts of people. Indeed, from some truly spiritual people, but also very materialistic people, New Age con artists, etc., etc., etc. When it comes to this idea also of self-empowerment, yes, that can mean many different things. Now, if by self-empowerment, what is meant is, again, something radically materialistic, meaning simply, self-empowerment meaning, boosting my ego and just having success in the world and making a lot of money and, the Andrew Tate sort of garbage nonsense. That, yes, what is self-empowerment? It means I should be surrounded by women in bikinis and flashing gold and hurling money at the camera like an idiot. Yes, that is materialistic. That's foolish. That's not actually self-empowerment. That's self-delusion. That's self-delusion. But indeed, there is a spiritual form of self-empowerment that is its very opposite, the very opposite of delusion, that is actually liberation. You see, when you think of any individual who, and I'm talking about this, of course, as I always mean it, in the traditional sense, meaning individuals you'll encounter in the Vedic scriptures, not some person who lived 100 years ago or whatever. When you look at real yogis, at real sages, true adepts, etc., when you look at the system that we follow and practice called the yoga system, the spiritual, true yoga system, what do you find? You find individuals who are endeavoring to know, surrender to, worship, and serve God, but who also employ all the tools necessary to, yes, empower themselves on every level that they are. And for what? To then serve God properly. You see, it's one thing to say, Lord, I surrender to you and here I am to serve you. And how blunt can I be? And you're a beached whale in your basement with no talents, nothing that you've developed in yourself. You have no intellectual capability. You have no skills. You have nothing of any value that you can actually offer. But you say, God, I surrender unto you. Here I am. Let me serve you. Versus a real yogi who says, God, I surrender unto you. I am here to serve you. And to prove this and to serve you effectively, I am going to make sure I am in optimal health. I'm going to make sure that I am in optimal strength, that I have optimal energy, that I have optimal knowledge and information and skills, such that now that I am surrendering at your feet and I am using the words, my Lord, I surrender unto you. Please let me serve you. Now I actually can serve you. That's the yogi. That's the sincere bhakta. That's the sincere devotee. Who, again, yes, we surrender ourselves and we make sure that we are surrendering something that is worthy of God. See, I've said this many, many times, and this is not just me saying this. Indeed, this is the Vedic scriptures. What we do, the process, spiritually speaking, that we do is we bring ourselves to perfection. Oh yes, the P word, perfection. For who we are. We don't compare ourselves to others. For everything that we are and that we have, we bring ourselves to the optimum of that. With the idea that now, having made ourselves wonderful, now we say, Lord, everything that I have worked so hard to make myself, now I surrender this at your feet. What a truly wondrous offering. What a truly wondrous offering. So this is how, again, self-empowerment and surrender to God necessarily actually go hand in hand. Not only are they not contradictory, but no, necessarily we want to make ourselves the best and then offer that self to God. You're growing flowers in a garden. Do you snip the flowers when they're halfway bloomed and then offer them? Do you snip the flowers when it's not even beginning to bloom, it's still just a bulb? No. You bring those flowers to their perfection. You wait for that moment when the flower has bloomed and you've looked at it, you've examined it, and you realize this flower cannot get any more beautiful. It cannot get any more perfect. And then, with reverence for both the beauty of that flower and what you are about to do, you take that flower gently, you remove it from its stem, and you offer it at the feet of Sriman Narayana. You are that flower. Be that flower. And that is the perfection of life. So very, very good question. Thank you very much for asking that. Very good question. And again, with that, let me just see what other questions there are. Govinda, I know you're dying to ask a question. Just ask it. What is it?
Why can't I have more milk?
You can have all the milk you want. Very good. All right, give me a moment, please, as I look at more of these questions. Very good. Again, just give me a moment. Very good. All right. Again, another very, very practical question. I don't think I've ever been asked this question before. And it is from a person with one of our favorite names, New World Over. Namaste, Sri Acharyaji. Is there a way to have success in the entertainment industry while being a follower of Dharma? That industry, we all know, is not what it seems to be up front. That's putting it very lightly. If one feels that this is their duty to God in this lifetime, sending out positive influence through entertainment, how can they combat the adharmic ways of this industry and remain true? Very good question. Let me say, really, to do this question justice, I would have to go very, very in depth, which I actually can. This would be like a 20-minute answer, but I'm going to try to answer this somewhat briefly and to the point, because it's a matter of comparing and analyzing, indeed, what is the nature of the entertainment industry as it presently exists, which is pretty much 98% demonic, as very few people would disagree. But then it's a matter of juxtaposing entertainment versus art and culture, which is something very different, etc. So there are a lot of nuances that are here. But let me just say this. Indeed, you are correct that when it comes to the entertainment industry, as you correctly stated, Yes, indeed, it's an industry that is quite demonic. It's 98% demonic. Whether we're talking about movies, whether we're talking about Hollywood or Bollywood or any other wood, whether we're talking about music, popular music. Don't get me going. That alone. How long can I give a talk about popular music and how demonic it's become? How long? Huh?
2 hours.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks. Yes. And then of course television, etc., etc. Indeed, even the publishing industry, actually. Advertising. People never think of advertising, but advertising has become the cutting edge for propaganda, even more so than Hollywood now, but that kind of goes past people's radar. Advertising is actually the front lines when it comes to demonic propaganda, more so than Hollywood. But again, that's something for a different time. So indeed, we recognize that it is a tremendous problem. At the same time, however, we have also seen that via even the entertainment industry itself, there have been life-changing, life-altering messages that have reflected absolute truth that have been given to us. What's the example? Lord of the Rings. Oh, and that's not the only example. There have been many films throughout history, not many, but a good number enough. Again, 2%, 1%, where indeed there will be a film that will be a work of true art, of truth, that truly inspires people and presents actual beauty, etc., etc. So it can happen. Now, when it comes to devotees being in the entertainment industry, indeed, there is nothing wrong with this. If it is indeed the svadharma, the intrinsic nature, the actual intrinsic occupational nature of an individual that, they want to be an actor, they want to be a producer, a director of movies, anything like this, that can be done. It can even be done. It's very difficult. It almost is impossible, but it even can be done within the current context if the person is very careful. But as far as it being done optimally, ultimately, of course, there will have to be an alternative. There will have to be an alternative structure that is alternative to what presently exists. In other words, good people, devotees, followers of Dharma, we need to start, in other words, our own movie studios. We need to start our own television channels. We need to start our own everything, our own music production companies, movie production companies. We need to create our own documentaries, etc., etc., etc. So ultimately, we need our own entertainment industry, and one that is based upon Dharma, and there can be such a thing. You see, it's a matter of comparing this to any other sort of field that has today become primarily demonic, but doesn't need to be. What's the primary example? Politics. Politics today, as a structure, as it presently exists and is employed today in 2023 and for quite some time now, is demonic. 85% at least. I'm being very conservative. It varies from nation to nation. In America, the United States of America, a good 85% of politicians are absolutely corrupt, including probably some of your favorite politicians, those of you watching out there. Now, at the same time, that means 15% aren't corrupt. Doesn't mean they're good. It means at least they're not corrupt. At least they're not taking bribes in the multiple millions of dollars. It means at least they're probably not blackmailed, etc. Now, that being the case, understanding that, politics is a tremendously corrupt field, does that mean that individual devotees should not endeavor to engage in political action, political activism in the world? No, of course not. Does it mean that government necessarily must be corrupt? No. There have been governments throughout history that have not been corrupt. They have existed all throughout history. Somewhat recent history, stretching back thousands of years, etc. We have instances of government that was not corrupt, where the government was actually working on behalf of the people. So this being the case, again, it's a matter of, if the institution is corrupt, you either change the institution, and if you can't change the institution, you start a parallel institution. that will make that corrupt institution wither away into nothingness. This can be done with entertainment as well. So indeed, for those individuals who are devotees, and let me tell you, I have known and I do know devotees, Vaishnavas, who are in the entertainment industry and everything from music to movies to acting to literally everything. You do your best to always maintain integrity if you're in that industry, but even better, start your own industry. Begin to produce your own movies. Create your own scripts where, again, rather the scripts being used as absolute subtle propaganda to manipulate people, instead have the scripts be scripts that will inspire people to be the best that they can be. So start something that is an alternative to the present corrupt industrial entertainment industry. So that's what I would say. But indeed, an individual can be a devotee and be in the entertainment industry if they so choose. And with that, let's look at a few more questions. Very good. Here is a good question from Bishwajit from the UK. Bishwajit, namaste. Wonderful to see you. And you say, namaste. Sri Acharyaji, sending all my best wishes and humble obeisances unto you. How should we view competitiveness in Sanatana Dharma in terms of career and other life goals in the modern world? All right. I'm going to say something that to our new ageified minds will sound controversial and is not in any way whatsoever. Indeed, even some individuals who they think they're not new agey, this may sound controversial to them because they're actually brainwashed on a more subtle level than they think. But let me give you the Vedic version, the Vedic verdict, I should say, the Vedic verdict on whether competitiveness is something that is good or bad. And it's this blunt, and it's this simple, and it's backed by the totality of the Vedic scriptures. Healthy competitiveness is good. Always has been. It's only been with the arising of Marxism-Leninism that now suddenly competitiveness itself is seen as an evil. So this is something that is very new. It's something that is very political. It's something that is very new agey. This idea that, competitiveness is something that's bad. So, of course, what do we have? We have 8-year-olds in school doing what is supposed to be competitive sport, but everyone gets a trophy. This team won over the other team by 30 points. They're both winners. They both get winners' trophies, etc., etc. This is something that is insane and demonic, and everybody knows it. Even the people who supposedly support it, they know it's demonic, they know it's insane, they know it's anti-nature. You want to see competitiveness? Again, for those individuals who they think competitiveness is a dirty word, I guarantee you live in New York City. I guarantee you live in Los Angeles. I guarantee you live in Houston. I guarantee you live in Dallas. I guarantee you live in Boston. In other words, you're an urban city dweller. You want to see competitiveness? Go into nature. Any aspect of nature. Go into a jungle, go into a forest, go to a desert, go into any aspect of nature. Get out of your city, get out of your concrete jungle, and go to actual nature. And what you will see is competitiveness. Competitiveness. Now, among human beings, competitiveness has existed since before the beginning of time. It will exist at the end of time. Marxism will not stop it. Egalitarianism will not stop it. Nothing, no ideology will stop competitiveness. The only question is competitiveness something that is meant to be vicious or something that is meant to be healthy? In a barbaric society, it's vicious. In a barbaric society, everyone is literally, not figuratively, literally stealing from each other, literally killing each other. There are societies in the world right now, there are nations where that's the case. You go to any of these nations and you better get off the streets fast, otherwise gangs will come and accost you and take your clothing off your back. That's vicious competitiveness. Well, we are followers of Sanatana Dharma. We believe in civilization. And we believe in healthy competitiveness. So yes, in sports. Yes, competitiveness as far as career, as far as businesses. Oh, a person opens up a cafe. All right, well, this person has an idea. I like that cafe. I think the owner's a great person. But, I have my own spin on what would I do if I had a cafe. Oh, I would make my lattes a little different. I would make the interior look a little different. My pricing would be different. Let me start my own cafe. Let's compete. Let's see. Now, let us allow the consumers to vote. Which do they like better? And guess what? Maybe one will like this one a little better. Maybe one will like the original a little better. Maybe some people, due to their intrinsic nature, will like them both, etc. But this is a healthy competitiveness where no one is being injured. There's now choice where there isn't just one cafe. Oh, there's going to be a Starbucks on every single corner regardless of what you like. No, let there be competitiveness. Rather than 50 Starbucks in one city, why not 50 independently owned cafes in one city? Each one of them owned by a real human being. Not just that you go to that cafe and there's a manager who really couldn't care less. He gets his little baby salary, but it's not his business. He doesn't own it. His life is not invested in that business. No, rather than there being, again, 50 Starbucks, let there be 50 independent cafes, all owned by a real human being, with their own concerns, with their own likes and dislikes, and each one different. That's competitiveness. Competitiveness is good. Competitiveness is dharma. Healthy competitiveness. So indeed, Bishwajit, I hope that answers your question. We are not socialists. Sanatana Dharma is the opposite of socialism. Take socialism. Take it. Take it. Take everything that you know of socialism. Sanatana Dharma is the opposite. In every way. Very good. So with that, we have about 2 more minutes, and I am going to end on time today. We're having an ISDS Board of Directors meeting immediately after the live stream. So for that reason, I can't go too much over time. But I will try to answer maybe one more question that I can answer in 2 minutes or less. So give me a moment, please, as I look. Very good. I will answer this question, and this is the very next question, actually, because, again, I can't answer it quickly, but it's also an important one. And it is, Namaste. Aside from spiritual strength, how can we get more enduring? How can we get more enduring physically, living comfortably in the West? On the road to success, we'll get often knocked down mentally. Can physical strength help? Excellent question. And let me say that both with the talk that I gave last time, that is how to have a life of success, but also I've repeated this many, 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 many times. As followers of Sanatana Dharma, we don't live the stereotype. And what is the stereotype? That, if you are a spiritual person, you have to be physically weak. If you are a physically strong person, then necessarily you can't be spiritual. That's the stereotype. That is not the Vedic teaching. That is not what Sanatana Dharma teaches. On the contrary, we believe in developing ourselves in every way. And of course, there will be a little bit more emphasis on one aspect of ourselves versus another, in accordance with everything, who we are, what our interests are, what our needs are. So, some people will focus more on physical strength, some more on mental strength, intellectual, etc. But truthfully, as much as we can, in a balanced way, we want to grow in every way that we can. So this is why I try to encourage all of my students that we must grow in every way. What does this mean? This means, let me tell you what the ideal dharmi is. And the term is dharmi, not sanatani. Sanatani is a made-up term. It does have meaning Sanskritically, but not what people think it means. We are dharmis. We are individuals who follow dharma. So this being the case, as dharmis, this is what a perfect dharmi looks like. The dharmi wakes up in the morning. They will have their breakfast. They will get ready, do their morning ablutions. They will brush their teeth, take a shower, etc., etc. Then they will do puja. Then they will sit and they will meditate. Then, of course, they have their work that they must do. Then when they're off work, they take care of themselves physically. If they can, they go to the gym. They go jogging. They take a vigorous walk. Again, what I like to call a power walk, etc., etc. When that is over, they come back, they have their dinner, take their second shower first, have dinner. Then what do? They read. Now they work on the jnana aspect. Now they read. What do they read? Manga comics? No. What do they read? They read, of course, Vedic scriptures. They read philosophical works. They even read other things, but again, that are things that are going to give them real knowledge. They can read about science. They can read about whatever is their profession. They're an engineer. Okay, keep up with the most recent science of your profession, etc. But indeed, in every aspect, they're developing themselves physically, spiritually, intellectually, etc. And in this way, the dharmi is a well-rounded person. So indeed, I would suggest that you also focus on physical strength as much as possible. Because every aspect that we develop helps every other aspect of what we are. If you develop a strong mind, a disciplined mind, you will be able to also take care of your health very well. If your health is optimal, you will have the energy to take care of your mind, to do spiritual things, etc., etc. If you are a spiritual person, you will have the motivation to perfect yourself on every level of who you are. So in this way, every aspect of ourselves that we develop helps every other aspect of ourselves that we need to develop. So in this way, the dharmi is someone who is well-rounded in every way. Very good. So good question. And again, sadly, we're going to end here. Let me apologize to those individuals for whom, as I always have to say, you've asked. There's so many wonderful questions here that I cannot get to just due to time. Again, it's fascinating to me. It's amazing how even with the strictures that I put on today, telling people only ask me questions about what we spoke about last time, even with that, there are so many questions that it's overwhelming. I cannot even begin to answer them all. But again, we need to end now because we're about to have a board of directors meeting, and a very important one. But again, I thank you all very much for being here, everyone who is here in the audience. I ask you to join us again next week. And next week, we will go back to our usual format. I will be giving a talk and then questions and answers. And indeed, if you have an important question that I wasn't able to answer today, ask it again next week, and hopefully I'll see it and have time to get to it. But again, please join us again next Sunday, 2 p.m. Vedic Heartland time, VHT. Please learn this term, VHT, because it's going to be important in the future. Vedic Heartland time. That means Central Time in normal parlance. And with that, everyone, Namaste. Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
Victory to Sanatana Dharma. Evam Bhavatu. May it be so. And so it shall be. And with that, everyone, between now and the next time that we get together, I ask you all, please, in every way, to take very, very good care of yourselves.